Hello, hello, hello. How are y'all doing? Happy Friday. We made it. How are y'all doing on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day? Listen, we are just going to jump right into it. Welcome back to another episode of Nick at Noon. My name is Nick Scott. I'm the founder and CEO of Her Income Edit. We are an online education platform that is designed to help women turn their skills into coaching income, digital products, and online businesses so they can earn more, depend less on traditional employment, and design a life on their terms. Listen, whether you have been here before or you just found my channel, I am so glad that you are here today because what we are about to talk about in this one, it is one of those conversations I wish someone had started with me about 10 years ago. So, if you haven't already, go get your notebook and your pen, share the link to this video in the group chat, text it to your biz bestie because we are about to get into it. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. All right, y'all. I want to start with a question for you, okay? And I want you to actually think about it and not just, let it just percolate in the air and go in one ear and out the other, okay? And that question is, when's the last time you got a raise and it felt like it changed something for you? When's the last time you got a raise and it felt like it changed something? Not changing something for a week or when you get that first check and you treated yourself to something nice. I mean, like really changed the pressure you felt, changed the options you have, changed how you slept that night. When was the last time you got that kind of raise? Because for most of us, that feeling, it wears off fast, right? And maybe even faster than you expected. You negotiated hard. If you were like me, you negotiated hard for that little title bump, okay? You negotiated hard. Like, I remember the last time I got promoted, I had to submit literally like a whole packet of information, and you stayed late for that title bump. You took on projects that weren't in your job description for that title bump. You smiled through the politics of that to get that title bump. And then when you finally got it, it was great. I remember my last promotion, it was wonderful. I felt like I was winning, at least for a minute, right? And then the budget meeting happened, or your team got restructured, or you realized the ceiling above you, it was lower than you thought it was, or inflation is eating up your whole raise. And you were right back in the same conversation with yourself, right? You were right when you said, I need to make more money. I need to figure this out. I need a plan. And if this is hitting close to home right now, I need you to know something. That is not a personal failing, that is a structural problem. And today, we are going to talk about it exactly like it is, okay? So, drop your favorite emoji in the comments if you got a raise this year and it still didn't feel like enough. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. So, here is where I want to start. We've been taught, pretty much all of us have been taught this, that the path to financial safety runs straight through our job, right? You go to school, you get your degree, you get the job, you work hard, you get promoted, and rinse and repeat, right? And then somewhere in that cycle, financial safety is supposed to just arrive. Like it's just supposed to come. But here's what nobody put in that particular roadmap. Your employer, it sets the ceiling on what you own. Your employer gets to decide if your raise happens this year or not. Your employer decides if your role still exists at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year. None of that is in your control. So that means the very thing that you have built your financial future on, your family's financial future, the thing that you built it on, it is mostly in somebody else's hands. And it's not because you're not talented. And it certainly isn't because you haven't worked hard enough. It's because that's just how employment works. You trade time for money at a rate that somebody else sets. And when the rate doesn't grow fast enough, or the ceiling gets in the way, or the company decides it's restructuring season, that plan has limits. There's big limitations to that plan. And I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying it because when you see the structure for what it is, you can start to make different choices. Listen, if you know anything about my story, you know that I have been building online since 2008. And that was long before anybody had the language for it. Even before I had the language for it, I understood one thing. I intuitively understood one thing. I did not want my income to be a single point of failure. I didn't have the language for it, but I understood that income diversification was a real thing. I didn't want one bad performance review. I didn't want one budget freeze, one company wide email at 9 a.m. to be the thing that unraveled everything that I built. When I started building in 2008, I was working in a corporate job. When I launched my first coaching business back in 2019, I was working a corporate job. When I started building Her Income Edit, I was working a corporate job. Okay. So the thing about it for me is that wasn't fear talking. I always understood at some level that income diversification was important. And now I am using my platforms and my voice to spread the word about income diversification, because what I'm seeing in this economy, what I am seeing, if you are putting all of your financial eggs in one basket, that is a very delicate, fragile, and vulnerable place to be in. Like, we have lives to live, we have lifestyles to maintain, we have kids to take care of, we have parents to take care of, we have our whole financial futures cannot just be tied into one place. Income diversification is very important. At some root level, I have always understood that, right? And for me, it wasn't fear talking, it was wisdom. It was literally wisdom. It was me feeling some type of way. Listen, multiple streams of income aren't a luxury. It is exactly what safety looks like when you're paying attention. Multiple streams of income aren't a luxury, it's safety. Because safety isn't just having a job, safety is having options. Safety is knowing that if one thing slows down, something else is still moving. Safety is waking up and not having your entire financial life contingent on one decision maker who is not even you. And that is what I am building toward. That is what I am encouraging you to build toward. And that's the conversation we're going to have today. We have a lot of ground to cover, okay? So I want to talk about something I call the promotion trap. And I want to be careful here because I say it all the time. I am not anti-career. I am not anti-corporate. I am pro-options. I am pro-income diversification, and I want to be very clear about that. I am not here to tell you that your job is the enemy or that ambition is your problem. Because your career, your job, your 9 to 5, whatever it is that you do, it is a real asset. Your income from your job, it matters. It matters. Working toward growth in your role, that is completely valid. But there's a difference between using your career as a vehicle and treating it like a destination. And a lot of us have been conditioned to treat our careers and our jobs and our 9 to 5s as a destination. So we optimize strictly for our jobs. We chase strictly our jobs. We restructure our entire lives around getting to the next level of that thing. And along the way, something gets missed. Something gets missed. Okay, I want you to imagine something for me. Close your eyes. You know, I like to do these visualization exercises. So you are a few years into your career. You are good at what you do. You've had some wins, you've had some visible wins. Your manager likes you and you're up for something. And then somebody asks you, what's your 5 year plan? And without missing a beat, you say something about the next role, the next level, and the next title, which is fine because that's the game as it's been explained to you. But here's what that 5 year plan almost never includes. What happens if that next role that you're talking about gets eliminated? What happens if your company gets acquired? What happens if your industry starts to contract? What happens if you burn out before you even get there? And then you finally have to admit that you don't even want it anymore. We have a plan to climb the ladder. We almost never have a plan for what happens if the ladder shifts from under us and it just knocks us down. And I think that's worth talking about because I have watched brilliant, talented, hardworking, high achieving women, women who did everything right. I have watched them get blindsided by a layoff, a restructure, a management change, or just the slow realization that this one job, it no longer fits who they've become. And when that moment hits and your income is entirely tied to that one job, the options feel very, very limited. That right there is the promotion trap. And it's not because the promotion is wrong. It's because that promotion, it was never designed to solve the bigger problem that I'm talking about. And the bigger problem is not your title, it is your income architecture. So, hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Let's talk about what income architecture means. Most people have what I call a single column income architecture or a single column income structure. So that's one job, one paycheck, and one source of income, right? And everything, all the things, your mortgage, your childcare, your savings, your retirement, the way that you live your daily life, all of it lives in that one column, that single column income structure. And when that column is stable, it feels very manageable because it's predictable. It feels, like you can count on it. But when that column starts to wobble, everything else wobbles. Your mortgage, your family, your savings, your retirement. Now, I want you to contrast that with a multi-column structure. So your job is still there in column one, but now there's a second column. And it's something that you've built that generates income outside of your primary salary. And there might even be a third column eventually. So when one column, pick which one, it slows down, the other ones can hold up. And here's the part that people don't talk about enough. You don't have to walk away from your job to build those other columns. In fact, most of the women that I work with, they keep their 9 to 5s while they build those second and third and fourth columns. Because the goal isn't to quit. The goal is to stop being financially dependent on one thing. That's what this is about. The whole thing about it is options. It's about options. It's about freedom. It is about the ability to choose. Because when you have more than one stream of income, you start to negotiate differently. You show up differently. You handle uncertainty differently. Your 9 to 5 was never meant to be your only stream of income. Listen, your job is not your financial plan. It is not a financial plan. Your job is part of your financial plan. And those are two completely different things because one puts your employer in the driver's seat and the other puts you in the driver's seat. And it doesn't require you to leave or take a huge risk or for you to start from scratch. It requires you to decide that your income deserves more than one source of income. And that's where this whole thing starts to change, okay? Now, I want to switch gears because this is where most conversations about side income go off the rails. They tell you to start a business or launch a course or become an influencer or try drop shipping, right? Which honestly, no. If you've tried any of those things, no judgment, because honestly, I've tried some of those things too. And if you have ever gone down any of those rabbit holes and you've come out on the other side feeling more confused and less confident than when you started, it makes complete sense, because those suggestions, they skip the most important step, and they skip you. They skip what you already know, what you've already done, what you've spent years building, often without realizing it had value outside of your job description. And I want to introduce you to a concept today. Your skills are not just your job qualifications, they're your leverage. And leverage is something most of us have been literally just sitting on without knowing it. I want you to think about it. Whatever it is that you do professionally, whatever industry you're in, whatever your role is, you have spent years developing a very specific way of thinking, solving, communicating, organizing, leading, or creating. And that knowledge has value. It's not just value for your employer, it is to people who need what you know. And that's the piece that most income conversations skip over. Your skills are literally your backup plan, they're your leverage, and they are your next stream of income. And here is the thing that I want you to hear. You don't need to invent something new. You don't need to figure out what you're passionate about before you take a step. You don't even need to spend years building an audience before you can start making money in this. When what you need to do is to understand that the skills that are living inside your experience, that can be packaged, it can be taught, it can be offered as a service, it can become coaching. And you can start with what you already know, right exactly where you are right now. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. I'm not a coach, I'm not a teacher, I don't know how to build a business, nobody would pay me for what I know. But let me tell you something. Every single one of those thoughts is borrowed. You didn't arrive at those conclusions on your own. Someone somewhere, somebody somewhere, whether it was the culture, family, a workplace, the way that we have money conversations, somebody somewhere taught you that what you know only has value in the context of a paycheck that someone else hands you. And that right there is worth examining. That right there is worth breaking down. That right there is worth thinking about, because here's what I have seen in my own business and in the women that I've worked with. The skills that feel ordinary to you feel extraordinary to someone who doesn't have them. That's how knowledge works. What's second nature to you is a breakthrough for someone else, and they will pay a premium for that shortcut. They will pay to compress years of their learning curve, to compress those years down into months or weeks. They will pay for the clarity that you've already earned the hard way. They will pay a premium for someone who's been where they're trying to go and can show them the path. And that someone can be you. Like literally right now today, with what you already have. The skills that feel ordinary to you feel extraordinary to someone who doesn't have those skills. And this is where I want to challenge something that always comes up. There's this idea that you need to be at the top of your field before you can teach anything, that you need a perfect track record, that you need credentials specifically designed for coaching, that you need to become some kind of celebrity in your industry, and none of that is required. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. What's required is that you know more than the person that you're helping, that you've solved something that this person is struggling with, that you can communicate what you know in a way that moves them forward. And that is the whole job. And when you put it that way, isn't that what you've been doing all along in some capacity already? Think about it. Training new team members, mentoring colleagues or community members, helping a friend navigate decisions, advising people in your network who come to you with questions because they trust your judgment, you have been coaching. You just haven't been paid for it yet. So let's bring this back to the income conversation. When we talk about building multiple streams of income, I'm talking about real ones, sustainable ones, ones that don't require you to go viral or spend every weekend grinding a side hustle that drains you. Listen, coaching is one of the most accessible and aligned paths available to women, period. Because low overhead, no inventory, no storefront, no special equipment. What you need are your skills, a framework, and a way to deliver value. And for most women I talk to, two of those things already exist. The third one, you can always learn. You don't need another idea, you need a second stream of income, and you already have what it takes to build one. I want to talk about risk for a minute because I know that a lot of you, and I mean this with full understanding and zero judgment, the idea of building something outside of your job feels risky. It feels like the uncertain thing to do. It feels unproven. It feels like something you do if you were braver or if you had more time or if you knew where to start. And here's the thing, your job, it feels like a safe thing, right? But I want to offer you a completely different way of looking at that. Have you ever thought about what it would look like to have income outside of your job? Drop a yes or no in the chat. Because what if I told you that having only one stream of income only one stream of income, regardless of how stable it feels right now, is one of the highest risk financial positions you can be in? Because here's what single source income actually exposes you to. One company's financial health determines your financial health. One manager's opinion about you, it shapes your entire earning trajectory. One industry shift can make your current role completely obsolete. One hiring freeze can block your next move. One bad quarter can trigger layoffs that catch you completely off guard. I have watched this happen. You have watched this happen in real time right before our eyes over the last several years. We have seen it. Mass layoffs in industry that felt completely untouchable, right? I'm talking about tech, healthcare, finance, media, education. No industry is untouchable right now. And the women who landed the softest after these things, the one who were the least afraid, they all had other sources of income. All of them. They didn't have a whole lot sometimes, but they had enough to know that one company's decision didn't own their entire financial future. Listen, the riskiest financial position is trying something new, is not trying something new. It is having nowhere else to go. The riskiest financial position for you to be in is not to try something new. It is having nowhere else to go. And that is the thing that I want you to walk away from this conversation with. Because building a second stream of income, even if it's small, it is a risk management strategy. It is not a side hustle. It is not a hobby. It is not some ambitious extra thing that you do on top of everything else if you have the energy. This is how you protect yourself. It is how you build leverage. It is how you make sure that not one person, one company, or one circumstance has the power to destabilize everything that you have worked so hard for. And the time to build it, it is not after you get laid off. It is not after the restructure happens. It is not after your severance runs out and the fear starts to set in. The time to build this thing is now, while you still have some runway, while you still have income coming in, while you can afford to learn and build without desperation driving all of your decisions. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. I see the love on YouTube. Now, I want to talk about something, and I want to address this straight up, okay? Some of you might be thinking, I don't have time, and I hear that. Trust me, I hear it, because you are working full time. You might have family responsibilities. You're managing a full life on top of everything else. And I am not here to minimize that, but I do want to challenge the premise a little, because I don't have time is almost always a resource allocation problem. It's not a time scarcity problem. So when you say I don't have time for something, what you're saying is I haven't made this a priority yet. And that's okay, because it might not be the right time for you right now. But if income pressure is something you think about regularly, if the idea that one paycheck is holding up your entire life and it's keeping you awake in the middle of the night sometimes, if you know you want more options but you haven't started moving toward them yet, then the question worth asking isn't, do I have time? The question you should be asking is, what's the cost of not making time? The cost of staying comfortable is often longer than the cost of starting, because time passes. It's going to pass regardless. 12 months from now, you're going to be 12 months older. The question is whether or not you'll be 12 months closer to a financial life that gives you options, or will you be 12 months deeper into dependency on a single source of income that you don't control? That right there is worth thinking about and considering. And this isn't a guilt trip. This is a real question for you. What do you want 12 months from now to look like? Because the answer to that question, that is what should be driving the decisions that you make right now. That should be driving the decisions that you make right now. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Hello. Okay. So, we have talked about why your promotion doesn't solve your income problem. We've talked about the structure of a single stream of income and why it's fragile, why it's delicate, and why it keeps you vulnerable. We have talked about why the skills you already have. We have talked about the skills you already have and why they translate. And we have talked about risk and timing, right? Now I want to talk about something. And if you missed any of that part of the conversation, I encourage you to go back and watch the replay of this video on my YouTube channel, okay? Now I want to talk about something that I believe is the piece that nobody talks about enough, and that is alignment. So what does it mean for your income strategy to be aligned with who you are? And why does that matter? I have watched women build second streams of income that made them more money, and it made them miserable. Like, these women, they picked something that worked on paper, but it didn't really fit. They built a business around a skill that didn't energize them. They chased a model that looked good from the outside and felt hollow from the inside. Hello, somebody. I've been there. And the money is good. It's fine for a while, but the sustainability wasn't there, because you cannot build something that you don't believe in. You can't do that for long term. It just doesn't work. I've been there, done that. Don't make the same mistake I did. So when I talk about building income outside of your job, I'm not just talking about generating revenue. I'm talking about building something that extends, that is a literal extension of who you are. Something that uses what you know and something that you care about. Something that serves people you want to serve. Something that fits into your life rather than consuming your life. That right there is what alignment looks like. And when you have alignment, whatever you're building, it is different. Whatever it is that you're selling is different. And you're able to sustain that thing, because you're not doing something that feels like a second job. You're doing something that feels like an extension of your purpose. Look, income that is aligned with who you are isn't just more fulfilling, it is more sustainable. And here's why this connects to everything that I've been talking about today. The reason that coaching works so well as an income vehicle for women, particularly women who are skilled, experienced, and have something to offer, it's because coaching is inherently aligned with who you are. You are using what you already know. You are serving people where you genuinely understand the struggle. You're building something that grows from your identity, not in spite of it. You're not starting from zero, you're starting from you. And that changes everything about this journey. Trust me when I say your confidence will come faster, your results will come faster, your income will come faster. And it's not because coaching is magic, it's because you're not fighting yourself while you're trying to build this thing. I want you to drop your favorite emoji in the comments if you are starting to see how this can work for you. Okay? You don't have to choose between your career and your freedom. That is a false binary that got handed to you, and you don't have to accept that. You can keep your job and you can build alongside of it. You can honor your professional skills and you can expand how you earn from them. You can be practical and ambitious at the same time. You can want security and safety and want more. It's not these goals are not in conflict with each other. They're both just you asking for what you deserve. Okay? Listen, if today's conversation has you thinking, you know what? I know I need a second stream of income. I know my skills are the vehicle. I just need to know how to put all this together. I want to tell you about Ignite. Ignite is my 12-week group coaching program. It is designed specifically for professional women who are ready to build a skills-based income stream outside of their 9-to-5. Right now with what you already have. Because in 12 weeks, we go from I know I want this to I'm earning from this. And we build your clarity on what you're offering. We build the framework for how you're going to deliver it. We build the foundation that brings your clients in, and we do this together inside of a cohort of women who are in it with you. This is not a course that you're going to buy and forget about. This is a structured, supported, get it done experience. I want you to drop Ignite in the comments and I will send you all of the information. The next cohort kicks off on August 10th. I'm capping the seats deliberately because I always keep the cohort small so everyone can get the attention they deserve, not just access. And once that cap is reached, that's a wrap. So if you have been thinking about this, if you've been waiting for the right program, the right moment, the right permission slip, this right here is it. You can go right to my website at herincomeedit.com/ignite to read everything on that page. You can click the link down in the description, or you can just drop the word Ignite in the comments and I'll make sure you get all the information. And I want to say one more thing. Here's the thing about Ignite. Applying does not mean you have it all figured out. It means that you're ready to figure it out with support. The application is a conversation starter. So after you apply, if your application is a good fit for the program, we will get on a strategy call together and we will talk about where you are, where you want to go, and whether or not Ignite is the right fit for where you are in your journey. So there is no pressure, there is no hard sell. It is just an honest conversation about what it is that you need, what it is that you want, and what it is that you see for your future. So if it is the right fit, we will move forward. If it is not the right moment, I'll tell you that, because I'm not interested in just filling seats. I'm interested in building transformations. And if you've been here for the last 30 or so minutes and you're still watching, you're probably not just casually curious. You're the person that I built this for. So I want to thank each and every one of you for popping in and out of today's conversation. If anything that I said added something for you, I want you to share it with someone who you think needs to hear it. Again, drop it in the group chat. Send it to a friend who's been talking about making a change. Save it so you can come back to it later. This is the kind of conversation that deserves to spread. This is not the kind of conversation that you keep to yourself. And if you want to stay connected, I want you to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you don't miss what's coming next. You can follow me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm all over the internet at iNickScott. And if you are ready to take the next step, you know where to go. You can click the link down in the description. You can go to my website, herincomeedit.com/ignite, or you can drop ignite in the comments. Thank you so much for being on this conversation with me. Happy Friday. All of y'all, all of y'all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend. My name is Nick Scott. This has been another episode of Nick at Noon. I am here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon, live at noon Mountain Time. Again, herincomeedit.com/ignite. I hope to see your application come through, and I truly hope to see you in this next cohort, all right? Y'all have a good one. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.